Picture this. It's the night before your wedding. Your dress is hanging on the door. The flowers are arranged. 300 guests are flying in from across the country. You're scrolling through your phone one last time before bed, and then you see it. A text notification from an unknown number. A photo. Your fiancé. With her. In a hotel room. 2 hours ago. Most brides would cry. Some would cancel. A few would confront him. But me? I'm a video editor, and I had access to something far more powerful than tears. I had the wedding venue's AV system, a USB drive, and 24 hours to rewrite our love story into the exposé of the decade. By the time he said I do, 300 people would know exactly who he really was, and it would all play out on a 10-foot screen in 4.8K.
She spent the night before her wedding editing the most important video of her life, and it wasn't a love story. Subscribe and let's witness this messy wedding together.
My name is Riley Dawson, and I spend most of my days making other people's stories look beautiful. I'm a video editor and motion designer. I work with luxury brands, corporate campaigns, high-end events. I make things look flawless even when they're not. Ironic, isn't it, that the one story I believed was flawless turned out to be the biggest lie I ever edited into existence. I met Ethan Sullivan 4 years ago at a networking event in downtown Chicago. He was a marketing executive, confident, charming, the kind of man who walks into a room and people notice. I noticed. He noticed me, and for 4 years I thought we noticed each other in all the right ways. We got engaged a year ago. Big romantic proposal on a rooftop overlooking the city. Rose petals, string lights, a photographer he hired to capture the moment. It was perfect. He was perfect, or at least that's what I kept telling myself. We spent the next 12 months planning what everyone called the wedding of the year. 300 guests. A venue that cost more than most people's cars. A photographer whose portfolio looked like it belonged in Vogue. And me, editing our love story video. Hours of footage, photos from our first date, clips from vacations, messages we sent each other. I poured my heart into that video because I believed every frame of it was real. The last few months before the wedding were intense. Between work deadlines and wedding planning, I barely had time to breathe. Ethan seemed distant, but I chalked it up to stress. He was going for a promotion. Long hours, late meetings. I understood, or I thought I did. Looking back now, I see it so clearly. The signs were screaming at me, and I was too busy arranging seating charts to listen. He started coming home later than usual, always with a story that sounded just plausible enough. Client dinners, strategy sessions, networking drinks. His phone was glued to his hand, but the screen was always tilted away from me. Messages disappeared. Call. Logs were clean. Too clean. And the affection? It faded. Slowly. Like someone turning down the volume on a song you used to love until one day you realize you can't hear it anymore. My best friend Harper noticed before I did. Harper Jones, 8 specialist, sharp as a blade, logical to a fault. She pulled me aside one day about 3 months before the wedding and said, "Riley, something feels off about him." I defended him. Of course I did. He's just stressed, Harper. The promotion, the wedding, it's a lot. She didn't push, but I saw the look in her eyes, the look that said, "I see what you refuse to see." I ignored it. I ignored all of it. The week before the wedding, Ethan was a ghost, physically present, but emotionally absent. At the rehearsal dinner, he barely looked at me. When we practiced our vows, his voice was flat, mechanical, like he was reading a script he didn't believe in. I felt a knot in my stomach, but I told myself it was just nerves, cold feet, normal pre-wedding jitters. Was wrong. It was the night before the wedding, 10:47 p.m. I was alone in my hotel room at the venue, my dress hanging on the door, my shoes lined up by the window, the final checklist on my phone. Everything was ready. I was scrolling through Instagram one last time before bed, when the message came through. Unknown number, you deserve to know the truth. And then the photo, Ethan and her, Brooke Allen, the intern from his company, the one he mentioned once or twice in passing. Young, she's eager to learn, he said. In the photo, they were in a hotel room. His tie was loose. Her hair was messy. They were close. Too close. the kind of close that doesn't need a caption. The timestamp said 2 hours ago. I stared at that screen until my eyes burned. My hands started shaking. My heart was pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. I felt like the room was tilting, like gravity stopped working. I checked Brooke's Instagram. She'd posted a photo 3 hours earlier, a fancy restaurant downtown. The same restaurant Ethan told me he was at for a client meeting. It all clicked into place. Every late night, every deleted message, every excuse. It wasn't stress. It wasn't work. It was her. I could have called him, screamed, cried, thrown my phone across the room. I could have canceled everything, sent a mass text, called it off. But then I looked at my desk, and I saw the USB drive, the one with our love story video, the one that was supposed to play tomorrow in front of 300 people. And that's when the idea hit me. Cold, clear, devastating. I wasn't going to cancel the wedding. I was going to let it happen exactly as planned. But the video? That was about to change. I called Harper. It was almost midnight, but I knew she'd answer. She always does. Harper, I need your help. I need everything on him. Tonight. She didn't ask questions. She just said, send me what you have and I'm on it. I forwarded her the photo, the timestamp, Brooke's Instagram, everything. Harper is an ethical hacker. She works in cybersecurity. And when I say she can find anything, I mean anything. Within an hour, she sent me a folder. Messages Ethan deleted, recovered from cloud backups, location history from his phone, hotel receipts. It was worse than I thought. They'd been together for 6 months. 6 months. Half a year of my life where I was planning our future and he was building a second life with someone else. The messages were brutal. He told her things he never told me. I love you, not her. After the wedding, I'll end it, I promise. She doesn't suspect anything. I read every word. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there in that hotel room surrounded by wedding decorations and let the rage settle into something colder, something sharper. I opened my editing software. I had 8 hours until sunrise. 8 hours to create the most important video I'd ever made. This wasn't a love story anymore. It was a timeline, a detailed, time-stamped, screenshot-filled exposé of every lie he told and every moment he chose her over me. I used the same editing style I used for our original video. Same fonts, same transitions, same music, but slowed down. Ironic, haunting. I added his messages to Brooke. I added photos of them together from her social media. I added location data showing him at hotels when he told me he was working late. I added dates. I added context. I made sure it was crystal clear. And then I rendered it. 8 minutes. That's all it took to destroy a 4-year relationship. By 6 a.m., I had the new video on a USB drive. I hadn't slept. My eyes were burning. My hands were steady. I put on my robe and went down to the venue. The crew was setting up. Flowers everywhere. Chairs in perfect rows. The AV guy, Cole Ramirez, was testing the projector. I walked up to him with a smile. Morning, Cole. I made a few last-minute tweaks to the video. Can I swap the drive? He looked at me like it was the most normal request in the world. Sure thing. No problem. He handed me the original drive. I gave him the new one. He didn't even check it. Why would he? I'm the bride. I'm supposed to have control over my own wedding video. I watched him load it into the system. I watched him test the first 5 seconds. Just the title screen. Nothing suspicious. He gave me a thumbs up. All set. I thanked him and walked back to my room. I still had hours before the ceremony. I showered. I did my makeup. I put on my dress. I looked in the mirror and I barely recognized the woman staring back at me. She looked calm, poised, beautiful, but inside, she was a weapon, and she was ready. The ceremony started at 2 p.m. The sun was shining. The string quartet was playing. 300 people filled the venue. Ethan was waiting for me at the altar. He looked nervous, but he was smiling. I walked down that aisle with my father's arm in mine, and I felt nothing. No joy. No excitement, just cold clarity. When I reached the altar, Ethan took my hands. He whispered, "You look incredible." I smiled. I said thank you. We stood there in front of everyone we knew, and we said vows we both knew were lies. I could barely get the words out, not because I was emotional, but because every syllable tasted like ash. He kissed me. Everyone clapped. We were married. Legally. Officially. For now. The reception started an hour later. Dinner was served. Ethan worked the room like the charming man everyone thought he was. Shaking hands. Laughing. Posing for photos. I watched him from across the room, and I felt something close to pity. He had no idea what was coming. And then I saw her. Brooke. Sitting near the back. She'd been invited as a colleague from his office. The audacity. She looked uncomfortable. like she knew she didn't belong there. She was right. I took a sip of champagne, I straightened my shoulders, and I waited. The master of ceremonies stepped up to the microphone. "All right, everyone. We have a very special video, prepared by the bride. A beautiful look at Riley and Ethan's love story. Let's dim the lights and enjoy." The lights went out. The massive 10-foot screen flickered to life. Ethan was sitting next to me. He leaned over and whispered, "I can't wait to see what you made." I didn't respond. The video started. The first frame wasn't a photo of us smiling. It was a screenshot, a text message, from Ethan to Brooke. "I miss you. Can't wait to see you tonight." The room went silent. I heard someone gasp. Ethan stiffened next to me. "What the hell is this?" he hissed. I didn't look at him. I kept my eyes on the screen. The video continued. More messages. "I love you." Not her. "After the wedding, I'll leave her. She doesn't know anything." Photos of them together, timestamps, locations, hotel receipts, everything. The background music was a slowed-down, haunting version of our original love song. It was perfect. People started whispering. Some pulled out their phones, others just stared in shock. Ethan stood up. His face was pale. His hands were shaking. "Riley, turn it off! Turn it off right now!" I looked at him. My voice was calm, steady. "Why? You wanted everyone to see our love story. Here it is." His mother, Margaret Sullivan, stood up from her table. Her voice was shrill. "What is going on? Someone explain this right now." But no one could explain it. The video explained itself. Brooke tried to leave. She grabbed her purse and headed for the exit, but people blocked her path. Some intentionally, some just frozen in place. Harper, sitting near the back, caught my eye. She gave me the smallest nod. I nodded back. Ethan lunged for the AV booth, but it was too late. The video was 8 minutes long, and we were only halfway through. He turned to me. His face was red, his eyes wild. "How could you do this? How could you humiliate me like this in front of everyone?" I stood up. I took off my wedding ring. I placed it on the table in front of him. "How could I? How could you?" The room erupted. Some people clapped. Others shouted. Ethan's father, Judge William Sullivan, tried to restore order. "Everyone, please, let's remain calm." But there was no calm left. The damage was done. The truth was out. And 300 people had just watched it unfold in 4K. I picked up my bouquet. I looked at Ethan one last time. "You don't get to play the victim here. You made your choices. Now live with them." And then I walked out, head high. No tears, no regrets. Harper followed me. We got into a car and we left. I didn't look back. The weeks after the wedding were chaos. Ethan tried calling, texting, emailing. I blocked him everywhere. His parents tried to reach out. Apologies, explanations, excuses. I ignored them all. Brooke moved to another city. I heard through mutual friends that she couldn't handle the backlash. Good. Ethan lost his job. The company didn't want the PR nightmare. His perfect career, his perfect reputation, all of it crumbled because he couldn't keep his lies straight. I canceled the marriage legally. It took a few weeks, but it was done. I even managed to recover some of the costs from vendors who sided with me after they saw what happened. The video went viral. Not the full version, obviously. I edited it down and posted a version that protected people's privacy, but made the point clear. Millions of views, thousands of comments, messages from strangers telling me I was brave, that I inspired them, that they wished they had the courage to do what I did. I didn't feel brave. I felt angry. And then, slowly, I felt free. I started a YouTube channel, not about weddings, about truth, about empowerment, about refusing to let someone else's lies define your worth. And people listened. My story became bigger than just revenge. It became a reminder that you don't have to accept betrayal quietly, that you don't owe anyone your silence when they've stolen your trust. Looking back now, I realized something important. The greatest revenge wasn't humiliating him in front of 300 people. It wasn't the viral video or the lost job or the ruined reputation. The greatest revenge was refusing to be his victim. It was choosing not to beg for answers, not to accept half-truths and empty apologies, not to pretend that what he did was forgivable just because it was easier than walking away. I could have married him that day and spent years wondering if he really loved me, years of checking his phone, years of doubting myself. Instead, I exposed the truth and I walked away with my dignity intact. And that's worth more than any wedding, more than any ring, more than any man who thinks he can lie to your face and get away with it. The lesson here isn't about revenge, it's about self-respect. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to settle for anything less. Ethan thought he could have it both ways. Marry me and keep Brooke on the side. He thought I'd never find out. And even if I did, he probably thought I'd forgive him. Because that's what people do, right? They forgive. They move on. They make it work. But I didn't, and I never will. If you've ever been betrayed like this, if you know that sick feeling of discovering that the person you trusted most is the person who hurt you the deepest, then you need to hear this. You are not alone. You're not the first person to feel this pain, and you won't be the last. But you get to decide how this story ends. You get to decide whether you're going to shrink yourself to fit into their lies or stand tall and walk away. I chose to walk away, and I've never regretted it. Not for a second. Because the truth is, you can't build a future with someone who's already decided you're not enough. You can't fix a relationship where respect was never part of the foundation. And you definitely can't trust someone who only tells the truth when they're caught. So subscribe and hit like, because you deserve a love that doesn't come with lies, betrayals, and I'm sorry I didn't mean it. You deserve someone who chooses you every single day, not someone you have to expose in front of 300 people just to get the truth. You deserve better, and the moment you realize that is the moment you take your power back. Never marry someone who makes you feel like you're crazy for trusting your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is, and you owe it to yourself to walk away with your dignity intact.
This one was crazy. The fact that he whispered, "You look incredible" at the altar, and she just smiled. I mean, that's cold-blooded. That's villain origin story energy. That's the moment where the character realizes they don't need to yell to wind, they just need to wait. And can we talk about the audacity of the intern showing up to the wedding? Brooke really sat there, in the back, knowing what she knew, and thought she was safe. That's like showing up to a crime scene and thinking, no one's gonna notice you're holding the murder weapon, girl, read the room. But here's where I need answers. Because I'm not just watching this story, I'm invested. Like, I need to know, did the best friend Harper get an award, a trophy, a medal? Because that woman hacked into cloud backups, pulled deleted messages, and delivered a full forensic breakdown in under an hour. That's not friendship, that's loyalty warfare. I need Harper's contact info, because if I ever need someone to uncover the secrets of the Eggverse, she's clearly the one. And honestly, I'm taking notes. I don't even have a fiancé, but if I ever get betrayed, I'm doing this. I'm buying a projector. I'm learning video editing. I'm making a playlist with slowed down love songs for emotional devastation. I'm going full cinematic revenge mode, because this is what happens when someone who knows how to tell stories decides to tell the truth. And the truth, when it's delivered in 4K with timestamps and screenshots, is absolutely devastating. But real talk, the wildest part of this whole thing isn't even the wedding day. It's the aftermath. She didn't collapse. She didn't beg for closure. She didn't even give him the satisfaction of a dramatic confrontation in private. She just left, blocked him everywhere, started a YouTube channel, turned her pain into power. And millions of people listened. That's not just revenge, that's a rebrand. She went from betrayed bride to empowerment icon in the time it takes. Most people to process a breakup. And you know what? I think that's the real lesson here. It's not about the viral video or the 10-foot screen or the 300 witnesses. It's about refusing to shrink yourself to fit into someone else's lie. It's about choosing yourself when someone else chose to disrespect you. It's about walking away with your dignity intact, even when the world is watching. So yeah, subscribe, hit that like button, because if you've ever been lied to, gaslit, or made to feel like you're crazy for trusting your instincts, this story is for you. And if you haven't, well, buckle up. Because humans are messy, love is complicated, and sometimes the only way out is through, preferably with a USB drive and a 10-foot screen. I'm Greg, loved having you here in Exposed, and I'll see you in our next tale.